Good morning, lovely people. How are you all doing today? Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates here. It is Saturday morning, May 18th, day 18 of Stitch Mania, 7:38 a.m. It says 72 and fair. It's actually, it may be 72, but it's raining. So their definition of fair and my definition of fair are apparently different. How are you guys doing today? I hope you are having a lovely Saturday or a lovely Sunday for those that live in the future from where I am. I just love that. I think time is just so interesting. So here I am. I wasn't going to do a stitch with me today, take the weekend off, but I was feeling inspired. I have a couple of questions that I'd like to discuss with you guys. Things that people have mentioned to me or asked me questions about, some things I'd like to show you. And of course, to show you my progress. So, what I am working on is Home for Christmas by Plum Street Samplers. This is the one that is the kit from Dying to Stitch that I got off of Stash Unloading. Home for Christmas. This is one of those kits that have all the finishing with it as well. Uh-oh, I just realized. Shoot, that's a different color. Oh my goodness. Hold please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I already do the 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. See, what I just did there is all wrong. There is white. There's snow on that roof. How rude. All right. I'm going to take that. I'm going to turn the video off and take that out because you don't need to be watching me unpick that, and then we'll continue on. All right, here I am back again with the right color. See, mistakes all over the place. We just fix them and move on. Of course, this color is going to blend in a little more. This is Parchment by Weeks Dye Works. So you aren't going to be able to see it quite as well, but that's okay. And I'm going to talk a little bit. One of the questions that I had gotten was how I decide what direction to go, I guess. And whether that changes based on whether I'm using overdyes or DMC. But before I get into that, let's talk about yesterday's project. So, Quaker Season of Friendship, and I did not pull out the pattern, I'm sorry, the picture. But that is what I got done yesterday. It's showing a little bit more. I have a light on, my light on up here today because it is a pretty gray day. So the colors are showing a little bit more saturated than they are in real life, but you can see the gorgeous, just subtle variegation in the floss. Isn't that pretty? So this again is 40 count Weathered Shingle by R&R Productions. The floss is the Silk Floss Copper from Mrs. Sadas in Spain. And Quaker Seasons of Friendship. So, Ann Robbins, Dye Princess on Instagram, did post on one of my photos on Instagram yesterday. Somebody had said they had tried to place an order. They had tried to order it but couldn't find the pattern anywhere, that it must be out of print. Now, it is true. If you just go out and do a general search on the internet, you won't find it. It's not available, as far as I could see, in any other stores except Dying to Stitch in Virginia Beach. That is R&R Reproduction store. Crown and Thistle, the designers of this, is a subsidiary of R&R Reproduction. It is them, Ann and Pat. So as far as I know, that is the only store you can get this pattern, where you can get this pattern. And Ann commented on that post on Instagram yesterday that they have plenty of these in stock. So you will have to either call or email them. I did put their contact information, I think, in yesterday's, the description. I don't think, maybe not in yesterday's description box. I'll put it in this one though. I will put their contact information in this one. There are a ton of people joining us in the Stitch Along. It is, if you want to join us, the hashtag is going to be hashtag Quaker SOFSAL. All kinds of different sizes of fabric and types of fiber. One person commented on my video yesterday that they may do each of the seasons in different colors, and I think that's brilliant. I can't wait to see that one come together. I wish I had thought of it, but I have so much of this floss and I absolutely adore it. So I'm going to be putting this away for a little bit. I'm going to pull it out again when more people start getting their materials and start stitching it. But for now, it is going to go and rest a little bit. And we're going to work. So I decided I'm going to work on this one on the video. I showed you yesterday that this one was actually the one that was supposed to be done. I was supposed to be working on yesterday, and then Jacobean Tree would be today. So I decided I'm going to work on this one in the video. And, you know, get a strand or two of the floss in. And then I'm going to pull out Jacobean Tree for the rest of the day. So, by the way, I am feeling much better. Yesterday, pretty much all day, I was feeling, you know, my head wasn't really hurting, but I was feeling just kind of sour stomach and just icky. Didn't stop me from stitching. But it stopped me from pretty much doing anything else. So I have a lot of chores, I guess, I need to get done today. But, speaking of which, I did get the dishes done yesterday. Did I actually run the dishwasher? I don't remember. That will need to happen if we want to have clean plates to eat breakfast off of. Anyway, so the question that I had gotten was, when I was working on this, I was working on the tree on the video yesterday, right? And I was going like down like this and up on the diagonal, working these groups of 3. And so the question was, whenever I have a round area, do I go around? How do I approach it? And it doesn't really matter which way I go. The direction I go is the direction that's going to get me basically to where I want to go. I work the diagonal or down and up on the tree because that's what was easiest for me to do. I'm working single stitches with this floss because it is a variegated, and I want to maintain that variegation. And so I work single stitches, and working down in rows like that is what helps with that. So working over here on this motif, I definitely worked the outside first, and I did go, you know, around, but once I got in here, I think I was going like more like this on the diagonal. It's really what works the best for what type of floss I'm using. If I had been using DMC on this, I very well may have just gone back and forth because I don't have variegation I have to worry about with that. So like working on this is all hand dyed, the over dyed floss, and I think it's a mixture of Gast, Gentle Arts, and Weeks. Oh, there is some DMC too, Weeks and DMC, and one of the Crescent Colorworks. So you noticed when I had that row in here of the wrong color, I was working across this. Now, even though it is, I think that's the hickory sticks, the Classic Colorworks hickory sticks. And I have like all the floss. This is the kit, so it came with this floss card with all the floss placed on it. And I just put it all in my Bitsy Bob just to have it all contained here. So one of the decisions I make when I'm working with the overdyes is there enough variegation in it that I need to worry about maintaining it? So if you look at hickory sticks, there you can't see a whole lot of variegation. There's some change in the like lighter brown, darker brown maybe, but not a whole lot. The one next to it is parchment, and that's what I'm using for the snow on the roof. In this one, you can see that there's more variegation, right? So when you look at this, when I looked at the hickory sticks on the roof, I turned it over and I saw that I did go back and forth on that. Because it wasn't a whole lot of variegation, I didn't feel like there was a lot. It was enough to warrant doing one stitch at a time, so I could just go back and forth, right? I know I went back and forth because of the way the back is. This, I know I went up and down doing one stitch at a time in this area because of the way the back is. I guess it's part of it is learning to read. Whenever you set a project down, learning to read what your stitches look like, just like you learn to read knitting, I guess. But anyways, because the parchment has more variegation that I want to maintain, I'm going to do one stitch at a time. I'm not going to go back and forth like I had been doing the row out and then the row back. I could do one stitch at a time, certainly going along the rows, but it's more difficult for me to do it that way than to just do it on the diagonal like this. Difficult because of the sewing method, because of the stitching in hand and the sewing method. You know, it depends on how you stitch, what works best for you. This is what works best for me. Now, as far as the direction I go in, that is totally dependent on where I want to get to. Like, you know, if I were working on one of these pomegranates, and these ones I did back and forth as well because I guess there's not a whole lot of variegation in that color either. But if I were doing one stitch at a time, and I would say I'm working across here, working one stitch, I'd still go diagonal to bring me over here, probably diagonal back this way, diagonal here, because eventually I'd want to get back over here with the idea that maybe I was going up to this one next. So it's an idea of where am I heading to, where's the shortest distance in between if I plan on carrying the thread, and coming back over here, then I can carry the thread and weave it under these stitches so that it doesn't show. So does that make sense? You know, it depends on where I'm heading, how I stitch, what direction I stitch. It's not like there's a prescribed, I always stitch in this direction. It totally depends on where I want to head to. And of course, because this roof is just a big bunch of color. The other thing I think about when I'm using over-dyed flosses is how I want the variegation to pattern. Now again, on the hickory sticks on the brown, you can see some changes in the color, but it's very, very subtle. If it were more, I would be thinking about, of course, and part of the reason it is subtle is because I did go back and forth. I didn't do individual stitches. You might see more if I did individual stitches. Now, one of the things I thought about is whether I wanted, like, okay, this is a roof. Did I want to create some kind of shingles look to it? So like going individually back and forth, what that would have done to the color, up and down, what that would have done to the color, how the patterning would have worked out. It's something that, you know, when doing this, I decided I didn't care if there was any real striping that happened. I don't know whether you can tell on here. It doesn't look like there's real striping that happened on the color on here either. But if you did have like a brown for a roof that had stronger color variations, that is something you'd want to think about. How does a roofing structure go? The door actually uses DMC, but if I were using a brown on this, maybe I would want it to look like wood planks that went up and down or side to side. You know, that kind of thing you would think about when you're thinking about what direction you want to stitch. I hope that makes sense. If not, I'm here. Ask questions. The other thing I was going to ask about, somebody commented, and I think this is one of the comments that I haven't gotten back to yet. Somebody commented about the vinyl on the project bags. She had heard somewhere that it can cause problems, like the vinyl would stick to the patterns or the pictures and kind of, you know, it would be sticky and it would peel the pattern, you know, the print off out. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, it would stick and the vinyl, the pattern would stick to the vinyl and it would come off on the vinyl. I've only been using these, you know, I'm fairly newly returned to stitching, and I don't have many project bags, and I've only started to get them in the past year. So, I don't have a length of time to tell you how they act. So any of you that may have been using these for a while, have you ever experienced anything like that, where there's a transference of the pattern onto the vinyl? I would love to hear about your experience if you've been using them for a while. My gut says that that probably doesn't happen. Hopefully this vinyl is a good enough quality that it doesn't happen. Whoops, I think I went down in the wrong hole. Because if it, you know, if people have been using them for a while and it is happening, they're not going to continue to use them, right? And of course, also in the world of trying to get rid of plastics, is there any plasticizing that's happening that might degrade the fabric, especially if you're keeping your projects in these bags for a long time, that might degrade the fabric at all or hurt the floss or whatever. Yeah, for those of you that have been using these for a while, I'd love to hear from you. Mike and I are very conscious of getting rid of as much plastic as possible. We were before, when we were living both in Maryland and Sarasota, but even much more so now here on the island. You know, you just become aware of what our landfills are doing and what the stray plastic. Somebody posted a picture, one of my friends from Sarasota posted a picture on Facebook yesterday of a bottlenose, a spinner. I forget which kind of dolphin it was, but one with a longer nose. And one of the rings from the plastic bottles had gotten stuck on its nose. It couldn't eat. It starved to death. It's just, you know, what are we doing? So Mike and I no longer have plastic bags. We use all reusable bags for all of our shopping. And that's pretty standard here on the island. Any store you go into, if you don't take in your bag, either you carry whatever you bought out in your hands, or you have to purchase a bag. And, you know, it's not much. It's like 5 or 10 cents, but still, it's a way to encourage people to bring their reusable bags back. I wish they would do that in the deli as well, instead of using those little plastic bags. Mike and I have the cloth bags that we bought just on Amazon, a set of the cloth bags for our produce that we use. We take those to the farmer's market as well. So we've gotten rid of an awful lot of plastic. I just bought Swedish dishcloths, reusable, like you can use them for 6 to 9 months, and they're compostable, to help reduce our use of paper towels. You know, not that paper towels aren't compostable, but, you know, again, anything to reduce the load that goes into the landfills. Hawaii does burn a lot of their things, a lot of the burnable, flammable products for energy, to produce energy out here. But I don't think that's what happens with the plastics in the cans. So, you know, we are trying to do our part. And the Swedish dishcloths have cute little designs on them. I'll show them to you when I get them. So anyway, we are almost to 20 minutes. I think that is about it for today. I'm going to finish up this thread on the roof and then move on to the Jacobean tree. Let me pull that out again and then see I probably won't do a video tomorrow. I actually have recorded a video that's kind of a public service announcement for other floss tubers on kind of a scam that happened to me, just to make them aware of it. So I will probably upload that tomorrow. And then back to my regular filming schedule on Monday. So Jacobean Tree. Again, it's this one. And you can see it's going to Elin Roethlisberger next. But it's going to be a while because I am only down here. This is going to be huge. I think this is 35 count that I'm doing this on. And this is all DMC. By the way, this fabric here that comes in the kit is 36 count. I think Witch's Brew by R&R Reproductions. So that is that. And then tomorrow's project is Leeds House Sampler. That is this beauty. And I actually almost took this off of my list to work on. Oh, sorry, bumped you. I have the alphabet pretty much all done. There's some things over here. Maybe that's what I'll work on when I get this back out, is try and get those little motifs done. This is really pretty. This is the one that uses the sulky threads. That's what all these ends are, because there's not really a good way to store those threads, the loose ends. But anyway, so I'll work on this a bit on Sunday. Maybe pull out another one too. I don't know. But come Monday, Monday or Tuesday, I will do another floss tube, a regular floss tube, to catch you back up again on what I did over the weekend. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Get out and enjoy it as much as you can. We are going to be meeting our friend. He went over to Maui for a couple days. He's back here. We're meeting him for lunch today, and he flies out tonight. And Mike and I are hoping to get out and do some snorkeling tomorrow, although I think we had planned to do another stitching get-together tomorrow. I'll have to see if that's still on. But that they don't need me there. I could always skip that, because Mike and I want to get out and get some snorkeling in. We haven't done that yet. But anyways, we shall see. In the meantime, have a great weekend, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye.